What's going on, everybody? Oh, do you know what? I don't have like tons of followers. So you're probably not gonna get, I don't know if you guys can hear me. So maybe I should just, hold on. I'll wait a minute. I'll wait. Maybe we might get somebody. Do. I will definitely say this. All right, you know what? Forget it. I got to get started. Okay. What's going on, everybody? My name is Glenn Lawrence. If you don't know who I am already, Google me. I'm an actor, writer, director, and a very opinionated person. So today, I'm about to get real opinionated again. And you may have seen me on shows with Offie Kingdom. Shout out to the big homie Offie. Maybe you've seen me on shows with AV, Alpha Villain. Shout out to the big homie Alpha Villain. Or Paul from Apex Mindset, big friend of mine, big homie. Or you see me on the block with Jen, right? You want to see me on the block with Jen? I'm always very opinionated. So I'm about to say some things that is probably going to piss you guys off. So who's ready to get pissed off? And if you guys are in the chat, you guys watching, you want to say something? All right. Here we go. This is what it is. Woke people. Hey, what's up, man? Woke people and feminists are delusional. Completely delusional. And I have evidence to support it. So let me my first piece of evidence. Now, we all know like this abortion thing is going big, right? Everybody's talking about thinking Roe versus Wade is about to get destroyed and that abortions are going to be done in the back of some, bar with a coat hanger again, right? That's what they're making it seem like. And the problem is, what up, Haran? What's up, Simply Deep? The problem is that's not true. Well, what happened with Roe versus Wade is that it would go down to the state level. There won't be a federal level, although abortions will be federally protected, that they would just require the states to decide if that state wants to carry out abortions or not. So, and then you have all these women saying that, men should not be able to tell my body, my choice, whatever, but men have no right over a woman's body. And I'm like, okay, I can hear your argument. I'm with you on that. But when we don't know how to identify male and female anymore, it really makes it really awkward and an uncomfortable situation when you trying to figure out what is what. So here's this video. I think I sent this to Haran last night, or he saw it on my Facebook or Instagram. But how about you guys just...
What do you say a woman is? You say a woman is.
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Okay, so a woman is anybody I could identify as themselves. What a woman is. All right, that's kind of weird. So we don't know. She doesn't know what a woman is. Continue.
Okay. Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
What do you say?
Okay, so she thinks that men can get pregnant and have abortions. What? So that's how woke and retarded they are. They don't know the difference between, men and women. So if now men could get pregnant and have abortions, that means men can vote against abortion laws and women can't say anything negative about it because this smart lady just said that, men can have abortions. So therefore, hey, we could vote on it if we wanted to, right? That doesn't make sense. My content, sir, is literally about whatever you want to talk about. To me, today, I'm talking about how woke people and feminists are delusional. I do a lot of acting stuff because I am an actor. I'm in several movies, music videos and whatnot. I'm also, a writer, director. So we talk about a lot of things. Talk about dating. I know several dating coaches that we, connect with and collab with. So we do a lot of different, conversations about a lot of different topics. But moving on. Now, if that wasn't bad, that was confusing as it was with the whole men could get pregnant thing, which still confuses me. Have you guys seen Calvin Klein's new ads? Like, let me just show you they are very wrapped up tight. Let me just show you the delusion, like just the process of how Calvin Klein changed. I'm gonna show you a little quick picture. Where's it at? Right here. Yes. Let me share this one. I think it's this one. Yeah. All right. So in 1999, Calvin Klein brought that sexy game. Yes. Hot. 2019 went way left. I don't know. I'm not one of those guys that says big is beautiful. You may have a big, beautiful heart underneath all that, but I'm just saying big is not necessarily beautiful. Not my cup of tea, or a lot of people's tea that I know. 2020 or 2022, a pregnant male. Okay, and just for the record, that is not a real man. That is a woman that wants to be a man and decided to get pregnant but still look like a man so she could say she's a pregnant male. Anyways, but this is the type of ads that we're delivering out there. You have the lady in Congress saying that men could get pregnant, and now they're promoting that by this. And just so you guys know, this is all part of the same group of people, this woke feminist culture. They may have different labels, they may have different, motives and drives for these things, but they still do the same thing. They still give out misinformation. They want to redefine so many things that, people just like, I'm sorry, for the longest time, we all knew that boys had a penis and girls had a vagina. Kindergarten cop taught us that shit. Okay, it really wasn't that hard. But now we are confused because we have boys without penises pregnant, girls with penises playing sports. And it's like, it's a mess. It's a mess. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to tell you that you have to accept their opinion and their belief on their definition on things, or you're a bigot, or that you are homophobic, somophobic, you're whatever phobia they want to label you with, they will do that. And they will get away with it because nobody wants to be labeled something bad. Okay? It's like nobody wants to be labeled a racist or a rapist. Okay? It's like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. No, I didn't do anything like that. Well, Haran, I identify as a lesbian, so. I'm just kidding. Hey, you want to cam up? I'll drop the link. Hold on, let me drop the link because I think that'd be fun. But if you guys, anybody has an opinion on these topics that I'm saying, I would definitely, love to hear your opinion. Here we go. I'm pasting it in the chat. Hop on board if you guys want. But seriously, like what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to not agree or to agree with their opinion of things. They don't want men to have opinions. They don't want you to have a differing opinion than them. Because if you have a differing opinion than them, because then that challenges their fake truth. And they don't like that. And what they do, instead of owning their wrong, they tend to label you, or they tend to, throw the blame game on there. What up, Ron?
Yo, what's going on, Glenn? How you feeling, baby?
I'm doing good. I just thought I just got to, get a couple of this stuff off my chest and say some things about this nonsense.
Well, look, man, overall, I talk with a group of guys, who are essentially, look, at the end of the day, there's only, let's just talk about a number of things that need to be addressed. The first thing is that men have done a hell of a job in regards to making the world safe. And
Yeah.
when the world is safe, and now that the world is safe and to some degree, not even to some degree, a very large degree, plentiful, people feel they have the space to just say some dumb shit in regards to what you're saying right now. Yeah, I tell people all the time, people are very clear as to what a man is or isn't when it's time to move something heavy or punch somebody in the face. When it's really time to do the grunt work, the heavy lifting, the uncomfortable things, people are very clear as to where they stand in terms of, the gender hierarchy. Now, in regards to what you're saying, look, man, it's completely impractical for anyone to be completely liberal or completely conservative. There has to be some sort of balance, and that is all contingent on the particular situation at hand. Now, we have to be clear on things when it comes to gender. Gender, man. There are men and there are women. Now, if you want to decide to go down a particular road at a particular point in your life, that's up to you. You're a grown person. I would hope that if you go down that particular road, you're of a particular, adult age. If you want to go down that particular road, then that's what it is. But when we start messing around with what a man is or isn't, then we start dealing with all these things become a matter of semantics. We start losing concept of of structure. And we have to understand, man, society only exists because we understand there's structure. There's hierarchies, man. You can identify as a look. I can identify as a millionaire once I get off here. I'm gonna check my bank account tomorrow morning, and it's gonna say otherwise. But I can feel whatever the hell I want to feel. It's what it is and what it isn't. There are no
Well, it's
pregnant
really
men.
delusional. It's
It's
really
very
delusional.
delusional. It's very
Because
delusional,
if
and to put that on people, to force that on people, that's a dangerous game, man. It's a
Well,
dangerous
it's like,
game.
what if I said, "Hey, Haran, I identify as a black guy, so
Right,
I'm gonna start saying some words now." Like,
right,
nobody's gonna accept that. They're gonna be like, "Go ahead, drop it and see what happens."
right. And I could say like, "Hey, Glenn, I identify as a white man," and go steal a car. It's not going to work out for the same. It's the same for me. Once the cops come and I tell them I'm a white guy. Nah,
Like, no,
it's not going to
I
work
just
out
been
for
in
the
the
same.
sun a lot.
Exactly. It's not going to work out for me, man. You know what I mean?
But and that's what this is so crazy. I mean, there was that case where that transgender was put in a woman's prison and gets
Yep.
2 female inmates pregnant.
Yeah.
Do you know what sex in prison is?
Rape.
It's rape because they don't have the right to consent.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was a corrections officer for a while back in Washington, and
Oh, okay.
inmates. It's called PREA. It's called PREA. There's a whole course on it. It's called
Oh,
prison
really?
rape, and whether you did it willingly or not, it's considered rape because inmates are not allowed to have sex.
That I do know.
So this guy committed rape in the woman's prison and he gets away with it because he identifies as a woman.
You see, here's the problem, man. Again, we're at this space where everything has become so delicate, and we can't. It's like I told you before, Glenn. Men have created this world where we're allowing women to just get away with these wild, roundabout ideas, and to enforce these roundabout ideas, we need to put our foot down and say, no, no, that's not what that is. No, that transgender person, that is. One of my boys said something real solid. He said to me, like, look, if you really want to impress me and show me that you really about that trans life, there should be a law that says within 3 months you should remove your penis. You know what I mean? If you really about that trans life for real, there should be a law that says. And he said, yo, I bet you 10-1, ain't nobody gonna be trans then. If there's a law that says that you gotta get rid of your dick. Now, if you do, then hey, you really about that, and it is what it is. Now you muted, Glenn. You muted, man. You muted, homie.
All right, think about this. All right, let's say you meet this girl, right? And I told my boy Black about this. My boy Black, and he is Black. That's his nickname. Okay, I didn't give it to him. He came up with his own Black nickname. All right,
I'm pretty sure.
And we're talking about this. Like we were talking about this right after the stream with Jen.
Right.
And we're talking. I was like, because he wants to get into podcasting and stuff. I was like,
right.
I'll help you out. I was like, think about this. Think about like, you're in a club, right? And you see a bad girl, and she's bad.
Right.
Like she looks like she should be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, not the 2022 cover.
Right,
we'll get into that one later. But you know what I mean?
Like
she's bad.
1992, 95 era, Sports Illustrated. Yeah, we're working with that. Yeah.
Okay, so you go on a date with her. All right, you click, everything's good. You get to first base. Doing a little kissing, a little grubbing, but you're not going all the way. She's not all the way there yet. You're like, I respect that, but you can tell that she's interested.
Right.
So let's say you go on 3 dates now, right? Now you guys have been seeing each other for about a month, and things are still not going all the way. And you're like, okay, maybe she just needs to take her time, but you can tell that the sexual interest is there. And you're starting to catch feelings for this chick, right?
Right.
You guys are texting every day. Maybe you guys go to the gym together. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys are doing things pretty regularly.
Right.
Then she drops the bomb on you.
Oh boy.
So the reason why I haven't let you go down on me
because I got a surprise.
Because I have I got what you got.
Oh my goodness! Oh my Lord! And that's happened.
And when I think about the situation, I'm because in a matter of time, it's a matter of time that this shit actually happens.
Of course,
it's a matter of time. You're gonna be like young buck messing around with this transgender, and nobody knew about it.
Look, man, that's one of my biggest fears. And like, if I'm out. Like say I'm out in a Vegas club or a Hollywood club and I'm seeing something that looks great in the dark and it's the silhouette is like, oh yeah, that's a woman. My brain tells me, yeah, that's a woman. And then, or maybe the lights come on and I'm like, oh, nah. You know what I mean?
Think about what it's gonna do to guys mentally.
It's like every time I meet a girl, do I ask for baby pictures? Do I ask for like
Nah,
you know what I mean?
I would just say like, hey, you want to go on a date? Like, yeah, I just need you to lift up the skirt right quick. I just need to make sure
let's just get to it.
Let's plumbing is original.
Let's just the plumbing is original. Let's just get to it. That's another thing.
We ain't got to go further than that. We ain't got to hit it. I just need to make sure that you're legit. Like it's all authentic.
Look, listen, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey man, look, I've dated women that told me flat out, can you send me a picture with your pants off? I need to know if you got a big dick or not. And I'm like, oh, okay. So hey, okay.
I just think it should be a criteria. But like, hey, I just need to see what you got between your legs.
Exactly. Everybody has to make sure what they're working with before we continue with the conversation. I'll tell
because
you one thing.
they got surgery to hide the Adam's apple now. So, I need to make sure what you got between the legs
Really?
is, yeah.
Really? They got a surgery for that? Oh shit.
I mean,
Oh.
it's getting wild out there. It's getting
I know
real wild.
a doctor is looking into actually transferring a uterus to a trans woman. He's looking into that procedure, so maybe 10, 20 years from now, they'll be able to have children. And that's when it gets real dicey because it's like,
Well, I'm wondering where's the womb?
I mean, essentially at the end of the day, what they're going to do, what their goal is to say a trans woman will be able to get bottom surgery, have a womb implanted, basically function as a woman, and pretty much men won't be able to tell the difference. I guess that's the goal. And my thing is like, that's scary, man. That's
At that
scary
point, we
because
need to do a blood test.
I mean
Blood test.
seriously, because if you think about it, you get with a chick, she's got the parts, she can have a kid. You're not in your mind saying that, hey, was this a guy? Like, you know what I mean? And that's scary, man. Where it's just like,
I mean, and you know what? It's like, ladies, I'm not trying to be offensive to you, but like, seriously, if guys start saying, hey, I wouldn't mind going on a date with you, but I need to see your cooter first, I think that's almost appropriate in this day and age. Just because, they don't want to be catfished because they don't want to end up feeling like they're gay now. Like the dude that went on a date with a transgender for a month and they were kissing, he was kissing a dude and he didn't know.
Now there's certain people that you can look at them and you gotta know, man. Where it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
okay. I mean, and some guys like to say like, oh, I didn't know. Like Benzino. Like, come on, dude. You have to have known.
Oh, Benzino knew for sure.
Come on, man. You had to have known that.
Well, I mean, did you listen to the video? You listen to the video that
Nah.
She put him on blast. She recorded him and got him saying like, where I'm from, people won't take me, will understand that if I went that way. It's not the right time for me to come out like that because people won't know or get it yet. So
look,
like,
there was a trans woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated, as a matter of fact, already. There was a trans woman on there. Yeah, you can look it up. There was a trans woman on there. And
I mean, if you're talking about Kim Kardashian, I get it.
No. But yeah, there was a trans woman about 2 years ago, maybe last year, or something to that effect. And I'm sitting there like, oh man. And it's one of those things where me and I was on a panel last night and we were discussing the Asian woman, the portly Asian woman who's currently on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Oh,
white
you
dude
were
who
on that one with
basically-
Jen?
Yeah, I was on that one with Jen. You know what I mean? And
she told me about it. She said we're gonna talk about it on her channel. I'm like, all right.
you know what I mean?
You
And
mean this woman?
yeah, and I don't think she's attractive. You know what I mean? Me and you talked about that briefly. I was like, that's not an attractive woman. And
Okay,
I told her,
I'll just be honest. I'll say it right now. This woman is about 100 pounds overweight. Okay.
yeah,
Like,
about that much. Yeah, about that much.
This is not swimsuit sexy edition.
Nah.
And they're trying to convince guys like, hey, you should want to bang a girl like this. And I'm like, no. Fuck
and look,
no.
if I was saying that, look, you have to look at the demographic of Sports Illustrated. Black guys don't buy this, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Because, brothers are sitting there on the panel like, yo, we. I'm like, look, listen, yeah, brothers are into thick or whatever, and, you know what I mean? Some of us are, some of us aren't. But look, white dudes, that's not their thing, a lot of them, you know what I mean? And you can look at the number of Sports Illustrated, you know what I mean, covers previously to say that, okay, their thing is, slender, petite, sometimes, you know what I mean, might be fit or whatever it is. That's that demographic. For the fact that that white dude was upset about it, yeah, I can understand because look, friend, to be honest with you, for the past couple of issues, they've been shoving down all kinds of women down, you know what I mean, white guys' throats. Here's a fat woman, here's a trans woman, here's an alien with a missing arm. Yeah, that's sexy, isn't it? And you know what I mean? These dudes are like, no, that's not sexy. And I said, like, look, here's the problem, man. Here's the main problem. These women can show up and be 100, 152 pounds overweight, but they won't sleep with a fat man. They're not gonna sleep with a. You're muted, homie. You're muted. You're muted.
Hell no. No, and here's the funny thing. It's just the same thing that about the video that I showed earlier, right? Where you have a group of people saying that men can get pregnant, right? And then they're saying, you know, fat women are beautiful. They should be cover models. And it's a conditioning. They're trying to get you to buy into their lie. They're trying to get you to accept their lie as truth. And I'm sorry, but no time in history has this been what men desired. On the consensus of on a general consensus,
Right.
men did not look for this
Right.
in a woman.
Right.
Okay, they look for. Hold on, here we go. They look
I
for.
will. Well, white men. We can say white men. Black dudes. You know what I mean? Black dudes. There's some of us that will look at it and be like, yeah, I'll mess with that. You know what I mean? Like for instance, what Kevin Samuels got. You know, the woman that he was caught with. You know what I mean? She was a. You know what I mean? She was a thick Latina, and she was right. You know what I mean? Her. You know what I mean? She got the right proportion. She was slinging it. Now, me personally, you know, I have no issue with you know what I mean thick Latinas and black, you know, thick. I'm not talking fat. I'm not talking about Lizzo. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about obese. You know what I mean? No, I'm talking about thick chicks who are like, you know, like yeah, she got some meat on the bone. She's proportioned correctly.
But
You know what I mean?
there's a difference because like I like fit girls. I'm about proportionate women. Okay,
Right,
like you
right,
don't have to be like any of these models
right.
on here. Like these are really fit, thin white models. But I mean, like you know, then I look at like Tyra Banks. When I met Tyra Banks, she's gorgeous. You
Right.
know, she's put on some weight, and I met her like even recently. Same thing with I did a
Well,
movie
she's
with
the older one.
I did a movie with Vivica A. Fox, and she still looks great.
Right, right, right. But they're older women now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
but
know,
I'm saying like
they're, you
even
know,
now, I would
right.
put Vivica on the cover of Sports Illustrated over that beach whale that they put on.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, you know, Vivica would have to lose a couple of pounds, but her core body is a lot more curvaceous than per se. You know, I mean, yeah. There's a niche, yeah, but you know, it's called BBW, bro, and you know that's not necessarily the thing for Sports Illustrated. There's other things, you know, there's other spaces for that, you know. But
Do
me
you want to know what
personally,
my opinion
what's up?
is? And I'm gonna get into this thing from Mark. And thanks, Mark, for chiming in. It's a niche. I think it is because there's guys that are not willing to level up to make themselves look better or to do the work, and
Man,
they settle for the girls that they could get. And
yes,
and so liking fat girls has become a niche because guys are only used to getting those fat girls. So instead of improving themselves, they just end up convincing themselves that they really like this because they don't like rejection. They also don't like to put in the work to get the right girl that they really like or the girl
look,
that they think
listen.
is out of their league.
Look, listen, you know what I mean? I personally, and this is another thing that I said on the panel last night. Look, a dude's taste in women changes when two things happens. When he physically changes and he financially changes in either direction. Like, dude, when a dude is cut up, he's let's just say 6 to 10% body fat. You know what I mean? His bank account is railing. You know what I mean? A whole different world of women you know what I mean, he begins to gain some degree of access to. And those women, 9 times out of 10, did not look the way that they looked when he was 100 pounds overweight, when he was underemployed, and his self-esteem was in the shitter. Let's just call it what it is. I've been around dudes with bread, man. Their women are just, come on, man. You've been around dudes with bread, Glenn. Their
Oh
women
yeah.
are just different. Those are different chicks. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. There's times when I'm like I'm not even gonna lie, man. There's certain times when I'm in a bulking phase and I know where like, okay, this ain't really what I want to look like, and so on and so forth. There's certain chicks I don't even holler at, man. There's certain chicks I just don't even fucking holler at. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like I'm in my prime space at that moment in time, and that's just me.
No, I agree because like right now, I'm in what I consider a bulking phase. Like
Right, right.
I'm sitting like 20 pounds overweight that I normally am. Like,
Now
you know,
we're
I'm
gym
regular.
guys though. We're gym guys though. Our down level is like some guys. That's their dream body. But for us, it's like no, it's a different scale. It's a different, standard. You know what I mean? Our standard is like, just it's some action hero shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And then here's the thing, because like, you know, women won't take a fat guy. They want
No,
even
absolutely not.
they want even fat women. Fat women want this. I've seen it in their profiles.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And that's yours truly, by the way. When I took the Washington State Classic Championship, right there, 6 packs and all, 2018, looking mean.
How many?
No, it's
You look like you were
2017.
about. You look like you were about eight. Is that what 7 or 8%?
I was about right around there.
Yeah, it was
I
about 7 or 8.
actually took top 3 in this competition. Um,
Nice,
and it's
nice.
funny because the show I did like a month before, I took like 7th, and I was
Dude,
pissed, and I was
dude, you
way
had
more
to.
shredded, way
You
more
had to have been
shredded than
doing
this.
abs. You had to have been doing abs more than one day per fucking week.
Bro, you want me to tell you
You.
something? Want me to tell you a secret? Want me to tell you a secret?
That's at
Can I tell you a
least three.
secret?
That's at least 3 or 4 fucking ab days per week, dude. That fucking your abs are fucking shredded.
Let me tell you something. I
What's
don't
up?
train abs.
Are you serious?
Never, never train abs.
Crazy. So
It's
that's all
all
genetics.
diet. No, it's all diet. I showed you
Okay.
that fat picture of me before. Like
Of
I
course,
showed
of
you that
course,
fat picture.
of course.
So like that is all diet. But was it true? Hold on, let me show this up. Get this up there. Mark adds, was it true when being fat was considered symbol of wealth? Yes, it was, but it was only considered for men. It wasn't
Yes,
considered for women.
not
Because
at all.
when a fat man was fat, that means he had a lot of provision. He had a lot of
Mhm.
resources at his disposal.
Yes, yes.
And men were like, okay, I want that chick. She's like, well, I want to eat. I don't want to starve to death. I'll get with this fat guy. That's
Well,
completely different. Nobody looks at a fat woman and go, you know what? She looks like she eats a lot. She might be able to provide for me some food. No guy does that. But they might say
see,
she knows
Mark,
how to cook.
and absolutely. And Mark, you have to actually look at it like this: uh, men and women. Our power lies in different spaces. Men, our power lies financially. Women, their power lies in their sexual market value. Now, for men, you can be fat, you can be overweight, you can be all these things, but all these things are contingent on the fact that you are wealthy, you are powerful, you have all of these things, all of these things. You can get away with that. You know what I mean? But when you are in that space, you also have access to beautiful, feminine, fit women, so on and so forth. Women that aren't going to give you any headaches and so on. Women, on the other hand, when they're younger, if they're in shape, if they're right, I mean, we're talking about top rack, bottom rack, everything is where it needs to be in its proportion. They have their pick of the litter. And no, they're not going to go with a fat dude unless that dude has a tremendous amount of resources. So she's going to go with the guy that's fit, the guy that all the women want, and so on and so forth, because she has that power. The problem here is this. Here is the problem that we're not discussing. We're allowing people who are fives and below try to dictate the market and put it in their favor. And this goes for men and women. You got incels who are trying to shame, beautiful women into giving them some pussy. And you got, you got ugly and fat women who are trying to shame men into giving them some dick. So it's one of those things where it's like, when you have this open playing field, I always told people that the democratization of media is going to cause a lot of problems. Once everyone feels that they have a credible voice, we're going to have, there's going to be a lot of shit that mucks up the pipeline. And here we are now, where fat women believe that, hey, yeah, I can be 200, 300 pounds and I'm still beautiful. And you have these guys and dudes who have no job. They're built like twigs. They have nothing to offer anyone, and they believe that they should be, they should have pussy no matter what. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how nature works. Nature has never worked in that manner.
No, and you're right. And I want to get to this question. See if all the parts on a man were changed to a woman's, is the man still really a man? Yes. Okay. Your DNA
Yes.
is, you could remove the dick, the balls, you can add breasts in there if you want. I mean, you can add a clitoris, whatever you want. The muscle mass of a man, a boy developing into a manhood, is going to be completely different than a little girl developing to a womanhood. So yes, the man is still a man. You still have the strength and the muscle mass as a man. Men's lungs develop differently than women's genetically. So unless you are cutting out the entire body, that man will always be a man. He will always have the ability as a man.
And you also have to understand your pituitary glands are going to respond to whatever gender that you are. Trans women for the rest of their lives, they have to take hormones. They have to take hormones. If they do not take hormones, then their biological imperative takes over, and their testosterone is going to overcome their estrogen, because that is how they were formed. That is how they were built. The same thing with trans men. They got to be on testosterone for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? Like they got to be like 60-year-old or 70-year-old men on TRT. They gotta be pumping. They gotta be taking shots every fucking month, you know what I mean, or week, in order to maintain a certain, degree of muscle mass.
I think it's weekly. I mean, at least for me. I have
I
no problem.
mean,
No shame in main game. I
oh
do.
yeah, you know what I mean.
I shoot up
It
weekly.
depends.
And you know what?
I
I'm
mean, it
at that
depends.
age.
You got to maintain a certain muscle mass. You got to maintain a
Yeah.
certain muscle mass. For
And
the
I'm at that
average guy,
age, like, I'm past my mid 30s. I'm at that age where 40 is creeping up on me. And you know what?
right?
I noticed that there's performance level in my testosterone. I took the test. I realized, okay, I'm getting lower. I want to get back to where I was. So, I mean, there's no shame in guys having to get testosterone injections. Okay, like people like to knock on it, like, oh, you're not natural. Half the bitches you fuck are not natural.
Look,
You
listen.
know?
You're either on test or I tell people all the time, like, look, listen. A man after 25, your test is fucked. Okay, you're fucked. After 25, you're fucked. No, I don't care what anyone tells you. Now you're either going to get on test, or you're going to have to start taking, Shilajit. You're going to have to start taking, all kinds of quote unquote natural supplements. That shit is drugs too. Okay, I don't give a fuck with that. Just because it's FDA approved doesn't mean it's not a drug. Okay, just because you went to GNC for it doesn't mean it's not a fucking drug. You know what I mean? Tribulus, all that other shit, all that shit that basically frees up your binded testosterone, because that's what it is. You know what I mean? Your test level, your test becomes binded up and tied up because it's like, you know, you have to take certain supplements to actually free up the binded testosterone to ensure that you still maintain a certain average level or even more. So yeah, you're either on the natural shit or you're on the synthetic shit. Don't let anyone don't let anyone fucking fool you. Some guys are on both.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, um, there's way too many ridiculous, hold on, what is he saying? Incels is, I die on that hill. Okay. Incels a misnomer, I'll die on that hill. On what hill?
He's basically saying that as a matter of fact, just give him the StreamYard link. Ask him to come up there and talk.
Hey, Mark, do you want to come on? You want to talk about this? I would love to have a conversation with you about this. You could be like Haran and not show your face. I mean, I already know what Haran's face looks like, but
Pretty much.
I mean, here, I'll drop the link in for you, Haran, or Mark, if you want to come on. I just would love to have this conversation because I actually have not had a conversation with an incel or anybody that identifies as incel.
I've actually had conversations with incels, man.
Really?
Yeah, I've actually incels. I've been fascinated by them for a number of years now. Even before this thing actually really kind of exploded on the YouTube space, because I've been fascinated by the concept of a man being completely undesirable, and
Hmm.
I've watched them throughout. Like, look, I came from like looking, I come from the hood. You know what I mean? I've 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 seen the ugliest dudes out here getting fucking pussy. I mean, you've seen it too, Glenn. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? I know some ugly fucking guys out here who was slaying. Okay, slaying. Then some of these dudes are getting more pussy than me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? And these weren't like butt gutter broads. I mean, some of these broads were just like, it was what it was. But I mean, some of these dudes, like, you'll be surprised, man. I mean, first of all, some of these dudes that were ugly that I'm talking about, these dudes are either in the gym, they made sure they had the confidence. They always had a job. You know what I mean? They did whatever they needed to do to basically take, any kind of spotlight off the fact that they weren't attractive. Look, when I was in high school, and I tell people all that all the time. I don't give a fuck what happened to you in college. I don't even give a fuck what happens to you in your adult years. I want to know what happened to you in high school. Because the reality is that nobody leaves high school. You just leave the building. Okay? High school is forever. Forever. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. What is it? Is it okay if I can get you guys' opinion on something, or is this a
No,
bad
no,
time?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, no,
Simply
no.
deep. Simply deep. Ask me your question, bro. We'll definitely throw it up there. Not just the fun kind, Mark. I don't understand. Like, I would
Marky,
love to have.
I'm yeah. Come up here and talk, Mark. This is my guy, actually. Mark, this is one of my boys. He's
Oh, Mark's one of your
actually
guys.
yeah, he's one of my boys. So I don't really know what he's talking about specifically right now.
But yeah, simply deep. You have a question? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's his question. What's your opinion on movies that show men in an embarrassing situation that you get made fun of, and how you would handle a real life situation? Okay, that's a good question. Because I do film, so I do this movie business stuff. And I tell you right now, there's roles that I've turned down because I see the narrative of what it's doing, and it's trying to make men look stupid, look like the buffoons. I mean, you got to look at the way the entertainment industry is. Before Bill Cosby was putting stuff in people's puddings. We looked at Mr. Huxtable as an upstanding dad. Like, he wasn't the clown. I mean, he was he joked around, but he wasn't a buffoon dad. Now you look at TV now, look at all the men in TV. You got Raymond, who is scared of his wife, and everybody's loves Raymond. You got, Kevin, what's his name? Oh, Kevin from King of Queens. He
Oh, I
he
understand.
he acts like he's his wife's, oldest child when he has no children. It's really degrading for men.
Uh,
And I have this movie that I'm in the works with called Mind Dates, and we highlight a lot of this stuff, but we highlight it in a funny way to correct men. So like, oh yeah, I did that stupid thing. Okay, how do I fix that? Okay, we show you how to fix it in the movie, and it's called Mind Dates. He continues, he elaborates. So he say, or it could be an embarrassment moment in general, depending on the situation. So really, it comes down to frame, and all these guys in TV. And we see them depicted as like the buffoons, and the silly dads, or the weak men. They are teaching you not to have frame or to live in your wife's frame. And that is wrong. That's a recipe for disaster for any relationship, because a woman doesn't want to have a man not be able to lead. Every woman wants a man in control, but not a controlling man. Okay? They want a man that's about his business, that he's on his game, he's on his P's and Q's. He knows where he's leading this ship called their family on. Every woman wants that. And when we show men not leading, and we make fun of them for not leading, and we make them look like they're just the biggest kids in the room, then we are doing men a disservice. So I mean, to answer your question, like, what was it again? My opinion, I think it's ridiculous, and I don't think it's good, personally.
I will say this. I agree totally with what you're saying, but I will also throw out there that in these shows and these sitcoms, there's a particular trope that often shows up. Anytime that buffoon guy, there's always a situation where it's just like, okay, his wife's ex shows up. Okay, his wife's ex shows up, and the audience is introduced to the ex, and this ex is always, it's always the extreme opposite of what that guy is. This guy is a millionaire. I don't know. Maybe he might even be president. I don't know what it is, but he's always tall. He's always sickeningly handsome. He's always, and he's always saying to the audience, and the audience is always introduced to this guy, and he's always telling the woman, hey, you're the one that got away, and so on and so forth. And I wish, we were still around, and blah blah blah. And she always chooses the dumpy, sloppy guy, instead of this, this guy that is obviously the complete antithesis. He's in control, and he's come down to their home in Main Street, Bakersfield. Who gives a shit? After banging like 10 supermodels in succession, to tell your wife she's the one that got away, and he wishes to whisk her off, and blah blah blah, and your wife always chooses you. And I always found that to be absolutely hilarious. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Because let me tell you something. I guarantee you, if your chick, I'm just looking at it from a black perspective, if your chick used to date Denzel Washington in his prime, Denzel showed up, at your home, and said that you're the one that got away, your wife's out of there, bro. The best you can do is probably.
Let me welcome Mark to the set. What's up, Mark? How you doing?
All right, I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
I'm good.
Mark, up,
I really want to answer this question before we get to Mark. All right. So Simply Deep says, here's a real life example scenario. Somebody stumbles upon you and your significant other at the wrong time at some secluded area. Well, what are we doing? Are we sitting on a park bench, or am I getting head? Because if I'm getting head, I'm not stopping. If we're sitting on the park bench, we're still going to keep on conversating. So I don't understand, like, where are we going? Where are we going with this example there, Simply Deep? Like, just help elaborate a little bit more. And guess what? You can't go too far with your analogies here. I really don't care. I'm not that filtered. I'm not even monetized, so they can't even shut me down. So, but anyways, Mark, welcome. More than head, he said. Simply Deep says more than head. So if you, in a real life scenario, hold on, Mark, sorry. If we're in a real life scenario and me and my girl at a park or somewhere public and we are getting the nasties on and somebody stumbles across, why am I going to stop unless they're not the cops?
I mean, that's happened to me and I didn't stop it. So
Same here. You know what? I kid you not. One time it happened to me with the cops. The cops pulled up. We're in the back of my truck. Just, the cop asked me for my ID, and I made sure the blanket stayed on top of me because I didn't want to get busted in decent exposure. So I pulled out my driver's license. I'm like, here you go, officer. You can have it. And he's like, all right, the park's closed. You guys should probably get going. I'm like, yep, we'll be wrapping it up right here in a minute. But other than that, I'm not stopping.
Right. I mean, for what?
Enjoy the show, you peepers.
Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, it happened to me it didn't happen, but I mean, I got it on at my job in one time before, and I kept telling to myself, like, I hope nobody busts in here. Well, actually, I was saying, like, I hope nobody comes in here. Okay, that's not the right choice of words. But, you know what I mean? I was saying to myself, I hope this doesn't go wrong. You know what I mean? Because I'm at my job, and it's like, this won't end well. You know what I mean? But if it's going great, I'm saying, like, it kind of conflicted, be like, I don't want this to stop. But but anyway, you get what I'm saying. Mark, glad to actually have you on the, on the stream. Let us know what you think.
Mark. Now, what was your incel statement?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that there's no such thing as involuntarily being celibate. It's either
that's true. Yeah,
it's either you take charge here, you don't commit anymore, or you stay it. It's a matter of making the decision, making tough choices. That's why I think that using the word incel, identifying as an incel, is basically just shifting the blame for not being who you want to be or not being with who you want to be.
No, absolutely.
Right? So that's my take on it.
Absolutely.
The first incel was a woman?
Same.
Yeah, the first incel was a woman. She started it. A woman started it. Yeah, you can look this up. A woman was the one who coined the term involuntary celibate. And, basically some guys took it from her and they flipped this opportunity. And, ironically, one of the most famous incels who's caught by the cops and so on and so forth, he was a kid, the kid wasn't ugly. The kid, he's at best he looked like he needed a shower and a haircut, but he wasn't like, like grotesque. And he got caught by the cops. And strangely enough, when he got caught by the cops and he was locked up, he got fan mail from bitches. You know what I mean? And it is ironic. It is ironic that he went down a particular path that I guess he probably didn't know what was going to happen to him. You know what I mean? He was going to get that kind of attention, or maybe he did. I don't know.
You know what? Like, here's a weird thing though. Like, when I look at incels, I look at them as two different categories, right? I think there's a group of guys out there that are just tired of women behavior, tired of the negative women behavior, and they could probably pull women. They probably could, do really well with women, but they're like, you know what? I don't want the headache. I don't want the headache. So I'm just gonna not fuck them. Just don't want nothing to do with them. And
right.
And I think there's the other side that like are so extreme, like I'm in an incel because I can't get the girl that I want to bang me, or no women want to bang me. So I'm just gonna instead of them rejecting me, I'm gonna reject them first.
But see, that's still all voluntary.
Yeah, it is. It is voluntary. It's just like, okay, Okay, that's your choice. Like, why are you upset about your choice? I don't understand why people get upset about choices they make when they make the choices, when they make the options. You could an incel saying, I'm choosing not to do the work that I need to do to get laid. Okay. And you're like, I choose not to do the work. So I'm out of the game. Blah. Why are you mad at the bitches? Why are you mad at them when you chose not to do the work?
Because it's easier. It's actually easier, and most men. I believe I told you this before. Most men just really aren't built for the smoke. In regards to women, I've had my ups and downs. I've had my frustrations. But I never came to a juncture where it was just like, yeah, I'm just give up women. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, no, it ain't that deep. There might have been times when I was like, I'm not really in the mood to deal with women for this particular month. It might be a month, you know what I mean? But for me personally, uh, I'll be frank with you. I have a particular addictive personality. I mean, my vices in life have, what I mean, I've overcome a number of vices. Women have been one of my vices, what I mean. Alcohol has been one of my vices, and I've never in my life, nor would I ever be like, yeah, I'm gonna give up chicks. Like, no, what I mean. I love chicks. I mean, I love beautiful women. What I mean, I love getting attention from beautiful women, so on and so forth. What I mean, there is a for me there is a degree of empowerment when you walk in the door and you catch the eye of a beautiful woman, you get into a conversation, the cat and mouse, what I mean, exchange that leads to the conquering, what I mean, of her, what I mean, just by from a primal level. I do enjoy that. Now, a lot of what these incels say that kind of fascinated me is because from their perspective, it just women seem to always be this insurmountable hill that they're never prepared to climb.
Yeah, hold
You
on one
know,
second. Let me finish
yeah.
this. Let me finish Simply Deeps. The worst
What's
time
up?
that situation would happen is during the finishing while in a state of undress. Hope she's not the loud one.
Oh,
Oh, why not? Like, look, if she ain't making noise, you ain't doing your job right.
I mean, you know,
If
I
she ain't
mean,
if she ain't calling you some holy name like oh God or Jesus, you must not be doing your job. Like I tell my girl all the time, I was like, so my name must be God. Like,
I mean, I
because I
mean,
don't
if
know
there's
who
no,
you talking to when we have sex. Because my name must be God, because that's the only name you're yelling. So I
absolutely,
don't care if they're loud. Be loud. That lets me know that I'm doing my job. You
uh
know.
huh,
But no, back to what you're saying. Like you're right. But for me, I think I'm at the point, and so what? We're in public. Who
I
cares?
mean,
You took
that's the
that
best
risk to
time.
bang in public. You do it. You handle your business, and you didn't go too
That's the
far with
best
your
time.
example. It is what it is. It's fun. It's funny. I enjoy it. But back to your thing, like I'm at the point now in my life where, like, if my girl upsets me, I'm not taking the puss. I will
Mhm.
curb that thing. So no, I will no, because to me, that is their currency. That's their
Mhm.
one thing that they know that they could use to try to get you back on their terms.
Mhm.
And for me, I don't play that game. I will withhold. I will incel myself, you know,
Mhm.
during that time until attitude is rectified, until behavior is what I think is appropriate. You
Mhm.
know, I don't know. What about you, Mark? What do you think about that?
It all depends, right? I mean, I'm happily monogamous at this point. Really, I have a bunch of children. We have way too few hours of sleep to be dealing with any kind of drama. So, yeah, I haven't been in a situation where it has been a problem really in the last few years. We just don't have time for it. neither her or myself has the time to play couples games. We do our thing when we have time, and then we got businesses to run and like children to run after and all that kind of shit, right? So it kind of is what it is at this point.
Mark, Glenn, you have to understand, Mark is not corrupted, and I'm very proud of the fact that he's not these corrupted individuals such as men such as yourself and I. He's a dude who's happily married. He stays on his square. Him and his woman I'm sure they go through their ups and downs, but you know what I mean. He is not of the Slavic and merciless and primal ilk.
What are you speaking? Are you trying to say I'm a Neanderthal?
Well, yeah, we're of that space. We got to call it what it is. I mean, it is what it is. We have to.
I'm one of those who actually left high school, Heron.
I like to consider myself enlightened. I don't.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, game recognized game. I know when I'm looking at a certain dude from a certain pack that I'm from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I told you before, like when Jen said something to the effect, and she understands, when Jen said something to the effect that men are, they're fucking animals. And you know what I mean? I understood what she was saying. She's used to a certain kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll agree to that. Guys like myself and Glenn, yeah, we have to consciously behave like gentlemen, you know what I mean, and move in a certain space and move in a certain,
I think that's
corner.
a wonderful thing about being a man is I could be as gentle as I want and as vicious as I need to be.
As absolutely, and
it's not a want, it's a need. Like I don't have to show my like this. Like I have a problem with guys that are always flexing on their masculinity. Right. We on Jen's channel, we've had a few guys come in there and be like, "Yeah, I'm so alpha. I'm alpha as fuck. I'm alpha this. I'm an alpha wolf pack. I'm a wolf pack of myself, alpha." And I'm just like, "All right, bro. Thank you for telling me how much of a beta you are."
Yeah, I mean, all that. I mean, you see how I am on when I get on their show. I'm like, I'm cool. I don't have to. We don't have to sit here and like, come on, bro. Like, be easy, be cool. You know what I mean? Because if people, if you are who you say you are, your energy itself would basically expose you.
Yeah.
If you are of a particular ilk, if you are of a particular pack, your energy will be an example of such. You know what I mean?
Your actions speak for you. Your actions
they
speak
actually
for you.
do.
And you don't need to telegraph your actions. Like, okay, that episode we're doing about racism, that guy like videoed himself being not racist. Like,
yeah, that was completely performative. That was absolutely performative.
that was a performance. And I'm just like, okay, even if you are not racist, like I'm not racist. I don't go around telegraphing all the nice things I do for people. I mean, right across the street right now, I'm flipping this house right now. So as soon as I'm done flipping this house, I'll be moving back to the West Coast. But right now I'm flipping this house in Kansas. And little black kids always come running over my yard and play with our dogs. I'm just being nice because they're kids. It's not like, oh, he's nice with the black kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to telegraph that. Like, it's stupid. Like
look, listen. I mean, Glenn, look, listen. All of my white friends, all of my white dudes know where I stand in terms of, you know what I mean, black and brown politics and, white supremacy and so on and so forth. I make no, I keep no secrets about that. Now, do I have white friends? Do I have white people I have love for? Absolutely. But I can still have that and still sit here and be like, white supremacy is real. This shit is what it is. And you know what I mean? Racism is real. It is what it is. But I also keep in mind that doesn't keep me from getting the bag. That doesn't keep me from getting my ass up and putting in the work and doing what I need to do. Look, listen, okay, let's say we absolutely get rid of racism. We actually put the onus on white people that you need to get rid of racism. Okay, then who gets rid of sexism? Who gets rid of ageism? Who gets rid of, you know what I mean, all the other isms that we have? Okay, so is it on the onus of young people to get rid of ageism? Do men get rid of sexism? Whose fault is it for any other ism in the world? Like, come on now. Like, where does this stop? And at what point in time do we actually get to real life? Do we actually get to, you know what I mean, a moment where we actually say, okay, this, whatever we're dealing with, what we're talking about right now is just social politics. How about we get to the point where we're actually saying, regardless, or, you know what I mean, in spite of these social politics, we are still going to thrive and we're still going to make things work. Because
Yeah.
there's double standards for both sides, and we both, you know what I mean, benefit from double standards.
See,
One more thing. One more thing, not to cut you.
Go
One
ahead,
more
go
thing.
ahead.
I just want to get a point out. When my mom was dealing with a couple of you know, when she was dealing with a particular situation with my mother-in-law, actually, she was dealing with a particular situation with a mechanic. You know, and they were trying to, you know what I mean, you know how these guys are. They were trying to, you know what I mean, charge her more than they had to charge her. And I said, what? She was like, yeah, he's trying to charge me X amount, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I told her, you know what? Wait here. I went over there and I said, hey, man, my mother said that you're trying to do blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And he was like, oh, no. She misheard me. And be like, no. You tried to run game because you saw a 4-foot old black woman come through the door and you tried to run game. Now your tone changed when you see a 5-something, you know, 5'9", big 200-pound black dude with bass in his voice actually ask you, can you repeat what you just said? Yeah, because now you see that there's a different situation, there's a different energy. So now you are going to basically say what the actual price is. Now that's my male privilege that I'm using to basically say, hey, man, you need to actually come straight or there's going to be a different conversation. You know what I mean? Not saying that I'm going to bag you up, but we will take our business elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I want to get to this question here by Simply Deep. So, Glenn, how long have you been doing content on YouTube and what inspires you? All right. Well, I mean, I started doing content on YouTube about maybe 3 years ago. And I had a podcast called The Offensive Truth. Then I changed it to The Truth Is. And see, I've been lucky to retire at the age of 35 from the military.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah. And then I got into acting. And then I've been doing that full time now. And I'm flipping a house now in Kansas and just doing a little, you know, side stuff. Diversifying my resources as well as I can. But what got me inspired in doing content is I see this stuff out here and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's stupid. It's stupidity. Like when I was growing up, there was no such thing as a safe space. Okay, your safe space was your bedroom, all right? And if you had a lock on your door, you get to lock yourself in your room. That was your safe space. You know, when it comes down to it, we have a soft generation of men. And I want to say shout out to like Rollo Tomasi, Donovan Sharp, all these guys, Paul from Apex Mindset, Afi Kingdom, AV from Alpha Villains. Like these are the men, and Haran, like these are the men that I like to associate with because these are men, not males. These are men. And there's a huge difference between men and males. Males are just a dude with a dick, but he's not a man. A man is someone that knows his purpose and that helps other men achieve their purpose and know their direction. And there's not enough men out here in society going against the bullshit that they're trying to sell us. Okay, like there's a lot of bullshit out there that feminism tries to sell us. Okay, there's a lot of bullshit that this woke culture tries to sell us, and there's not enough people saying, "Wait a minute, this is bullshit. We call bullshit," and that's what really kind of inspired me because you know what, we have kids behind us. They're going to be growing up, and they're going to be fucked because nobody stood up against the bullshit that this society is teaching them is supposed to be acceptable. I remember when I was in school, there was 2 genders. Now there's like 40 million genders. Okay.
But don't you think there's been weak men in all generations, and we remember specifically the strong ones because they were strong? Like, so now we're talking about survivorship bias. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think
there-
there's been weak men in every generation, but the weaknesses of men have just been growing ever since. Like, okay, it goes back to let's do a little history test here, a little history example. Back in the day, we had to fight off the saber-toothed tiger, protect the village, protect the women folk and the kids, right? We were needed. We were defenders. Men built roads, they built bridges, they built railroad tracks, they built skyscrapers.
But
Men did
life expectancy for men has always been significantly lower, probably for that specific reason.
Yes, and it's because we always did those tough jobs. We always did the jobs that were needed.
But only
And
the strongest could actually cut it and survive.
yes, and there's not enough strong men anymore.
It's
Like
I
if we
think
go to
the, I
war
think
right
the
now,
ratio's always there. It's just that they don't die.
no, I just think that we're not making men strong anymore. Okay, we're giving them participation trophies for showing up. Okay, that type of mindset weakens men. Well, Timmy got a trophy. He was on the losing team, but Billy got a trophy and he was on the winning team, and they got the same damn trophy. And it's like, why?
Glenn, could you play that video that I just threw in the private chat real quick?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Just gave us all a brand new iPhone.
We've been customers for years. We got iPhone 13s too. Switched to
Hold on. Be quiet. But no, seriously, like we have this, weakness that we're breeding weak men. We are breeding weak men. And
I'm thinking what's actually happening is that we're not weeding them out, because a strong man will know strong from early on. You can. I'm sure you'll attest to this, both of you.
All on the network.
You didn't need to learn to be strong. It was
I'm gonna play
within
this.
you
Hold on,
from the
Mark.
get-go, wasn't it?
Hold on, Mark. I want to play this video real quick.
Easy. He was handpicked.
Sit-ups.
Now they were setups. There was good fighters, but they wasn't killers like this guy. He'll knock you to tomorrow, Brock.
This is when he fought Drago, right?
No, this is when he fought Clubber Lang.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
There's a point to this.
Because the beating that you got from Apollo should have killed you, kid. It didn't. It was my job to keep you winning and to keep you healthy.
Really don't think I got nothing left, do you?
Brock, let's put it this way. 3 years ago, you were supernatural. It's hard, it was nasty. You had this cast iron jaw. But then, the worst thing happened to you that could happen to any fighter. You got civilized. Don't worry, kid. You know, presidents retire, generals retire, horses retire, men of war retire. They put them out for stud. That's what you should have done, retire.
Now you can stop it right there for a second.
Yeah, they put him out. Stud.
Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is that here's a problem. Men, and I said this earlier, men have done an amazing job of making the world safe enough for people to believe, for basically people to basically hang on their laurels. You know what I mean? To live a life of leisure. Now, when I was coming up, and before that, well, you can attest to this, Glenn. The '80s and the '90s were some vicious times. You know what I mean? America was far more divided then than it is now. You know, and it took a lot of grit, a lot of will, and a lot of focus to basically not even just climb the pack, but to just be somewhat average or even above average. Now, the work that was put in before us, you know, a lot of us, we are experiencing the spoils of that. And one of the main things is that when you have spoils, when what comes from spoils is basically feasting, opulence. You know what I mean? A heavy amount of waste. When you go on vacation and you're relaxing, one of the main things you often do is you eat. You eat a lot. You know what I mean? Because you're fucking relaxing. You're enjoying yourself. When you're under pressure and times are lean, one of the things that you don't do often enough, well, a lot of us don't eat. A lot of us, are very focused. We make sure that we are in shape to handle what is, on the other side of things. You're essentially your mind prepares you for war. It's like you worked in corrections, right, Glenn?
Mm-hmm.
Like those guys, inmates, inmates are probably they're probably the best example of a human being at his or her base nature.
Yeah.
You're in a primal environment. You're in a primal environment, and the goal is to survive.
Yeah. But I think it's funny is like, and I guess it's because just who I am. Like I always was bigger than all the inmates in there anyway. So
I
when
mean, I'm sure that helped you out.
oh yeah, it's like I would walk in there and I would joke with the guys. I'll tell them like, hey man, don't make me do my job today. I just came here to kick
Right,
you.
right,
Job. I just came here to
right,
kick you a
right, right.
job.
Uh,
Um,
well, one of my mentors, he was about he worked in Rikers Island, and he per se had the same stance, and nobody really fucked with him. But he was also 6'4", 300 fucking pounds. So there was a consequence on the other side of dealing with him. He was a corrections officer. There were times when he had to put in work. But it is what it is. But the point here that I'm making here is that to Mark's question, to answer his question, yeah, there are more weak guys because there's a safer environment. There's a life of leisure. There's no knock on the door at two. Excuse me, not knock on the door. There's no bump in the night at 2 a.m. downstairs, and someone has to check often. There are no more saber-toothed tigers. Well, not more, but there are not as many saber-toothed tigers to slay as there was generations prior. People can chill. People, and the one thing about safety, and I love movies, and I'm a big movie buff. I'm a hit you on to another line that I love from The Dark Knight when him and Bane are going at it,
oh
and it's
yeah.
just that is one of the best like 10, 15 minutes of cinema I've seen in a long time. Not even comic book shit. I'm just talking about cinema. It was raw. It was brutal. And the first thing that he did, one of the first things that were profound in that fight, was that when he caught his hands and he told him that, basically told him that, basically victory has robbed you of your strength. Victory
Yeah.
has defeated you. And
Yep.
in many ways, as men, victory has defeated us in many ways. We've climbed the top of the mountains. We've created this environment that's so safe. We've created this world that we've kind of weakened ourselves. Not even kind of. We've weakened ourselves in many ways.
Well,
And
we chose a life of convenience.
yes, yes. I hope
I mean,
that
our
answers your
food is
question, Mark.
convenient. Our food is convenient. We can get sex conveniently. Whether if
Right,
it's
right,
not,
right.
you can even if you're not
Porn and
getting with
shit.
a girl, you can watch
Yeah,
porn on your internet
yeah,
conveniently.
yeah. Yeah, Mark, does this answer your question?
Not quite. I mean, at the end of the day, men survive longer no matter what happens. Like
Okay.
there are more people today than there has ever been. Okay, we can agree
Okay.
on that, right?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool.
Unfortunately.
Now, I'm talking about ratios, right?
Yes.
I'm talking
Good.
about, like, we see the sheer volume of weak men is higher, yes, but there are more people, and the life expectancy of men has gone up, right?
Well, I think that has
Mhm.
to. I think you got to contribute the fact of war has changed into this. There's not so many dangerous jobs as there once were. Again, it goes to convenience. Um, I mean, I still think the most dangerous jobs now are law enforcement, corrections officers, firemen, construction workers. Those guys still risk their lives every single day.
And they have the
Building,
lowest life expectancy as well.
yeah, yeah, and I think when we realize that we don't have as many um, a tough, difficult jobs anymore. Like, I mean, even our military, and I'm being pretty proud of our military. I can tell you this: we don't put that many boots on the ground. We do more drone stuff.
Which is kind of my point, right? So
Yeah,
I'm not saying that everyone, like the majority of people, of men that lived before, were stronger. I'm talking about ratio here. We have the same amount of strong men, the same amount of weak men, but because it is so convenient and easy to survive, weak men are allowed to thrive.
well, I also think
Right.
that
So
the strong
I
men.
don't think that we are creating more weak men. I think that weak men are allowed to survive longer.
Oh yes, I agree, but I also think that the once strong men have been assimilated to this weak society, and that's the problem. I think every man is capable of being a strong man. I think they just assimilated to this weak society, which says this is acceptable and this is what's okay, and it's okay for men to wear dresses, and it's okay to do these things. It's okay when it's never been okay. I mean, I have friends that are in Russia. I have Russian friends, and I'll tell you this: like, those motherfuckers ain't no bitch. Like, I'll tell you right now, even the scrawniest dude over there is a scrapper. Um,
But the
and it's
conditions are
because
different. The conditions are
it,
different.
exactly, the culture is different, and I think our culture just it breeds weak men. It makes it okay to be weak, and I say this in the sense of it from a military standpoint. I don't think if America went to war with China or with Russia, we would do well. We have a
Absolutely
lot of
not.
fat, lazy. We have a lot of weak, mentally weak servicemen and women. And over there in those other countries, they breed soldiers.
Yes, they do.
They don't breed weak. I mean, they don't breed weak nothing. They breed soldiers.
Glenn, have you ever swung a kettlebell, man?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I was telling Mark, we were having a discussion about kettlebells, and I was telling him, I'm like, swinging kettlebells and kettlebell workouts, that's some different shit. I mean, barbells and so on and so forth. That's one thing, but when we're talking about, honestly, to be completely frank with you, when we're talking about, I mean, barbells and free weights, those are really, yeah, you can gain a degree of strength with that, but those are really for aesthetics. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You can build a pleasing a body aesthetically with free weights. When we're talking about blunt force fucking trauma, you gotta lift shit. I mean, you gotta lift shit like kettlebells, tires, push a
Oh yeah.
fucking car. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking about that, like when you see strong men, competing, these guys are fucking fat. You know what I mean? These guys got fucking bellies, but they're pulling a fucking plane. You know what I mean?
Oh
These
yeah.
guys are pushing a fucking bus. You know what I mean? But to speak on Mark's original question, I understand now what he's saying. This is a wheat versus chaff kind of argument. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you have more surplus, yeah, you're most likely going to have more chaff than wheat. You know what I mean? If we're going to have more people, 9 times out of 10, especially if they're more weak guys having kids, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have more weak people. so on and so forth, as opposed to, you know what I mean, prior generations, you know what I mean, when the ratio was different. Yeah, you know what I mean, the number of weak men aren't going to be, you know what I mean, around as such. It's also a thing where a friend of mine and I were having a discussion. When you go to impoverished neighborhoods, one of the main things that you see a lot of is that you see a lot of children. You know what I mean? Smart people or well-off people, they don't really have a lot of kids. You know, I mean, at best they'll have like maybe two, maybe three.
They're
But
expensive.
yeah, that is, and
How
that
many
is
kids you
the
got,
thing.
Mark?
3.
See, I stopped at
Now,
2 and I got fixed.
see, but you see, you
Smart
guys are
man.
smart. You guys are smart. You know what I mean? You're smart men. You understand that, oh no, we can't have another kid because they're going to drain our fucking resources. These people are idiots and these people are poor. They don't give a fuck. They don't pay anything in taxes.
It's
They
not
don't
even
give a
about the
shit.
money. It's about the time, man.
And that's
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
it's the
and
time.
that's
It's
the
about
other half of it.
both. It's about
That's
both. I
the
mean,
other
you
half
can't
of it.
invest. You have to invest a lot of time in your kids. And on top of that, you got, I mean,
No,
I'm
you
the,
have the free fucking time also to fuck. You know what I mean? You also have
yeah,
the free time to fucking fuck. So it's like if you're both two working adults, you know what I mean, and you're out there and you're busting your asses and you're making sure that the kids that you got have something. Half the time you don't really have time for yourselves, much less yourself individually. And you know, when you come home, sometimes you're like, man, shit, I just want a fucking, sandwich. I'm not trying to fuck this chick. And then she's probably thinking the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? It's just like, look, we're just working hard enough to just make sure that everyone breathes tomorrow. Literally breathes tomorrow. Poor people, that's a different world entirely. She's probably fucking out of work. He's probably out of work. They're living off the fucking system. They got more time than not to what? Fuck. Have more kids. They can get
yep.
more public assistance. And then before you know it, there's like 5, 6, 7 fucking kids. Like, look, I know a lot of people that I know who are poor. Yeah, they got kids hanging off the ceiling. You know what I mean? It's a literal infestation of people in their homes. You know what I mean?
Well,
And you,
because, I mean, it's sad to say, but a lot of the poorer community tend to use their kids as a means of income.
yeah, I've seen
And
it.
and that's sad. But I want to get to this follow-up question by Simply Deep. I'm going to throw this one to Mark. All right, Mark. You and your girl got away from the kids for the evening. You're at a park and you start doing the deed. And would it be more embarrassing to get caught in the act with your pants down or caught with nothing on, and why?
I mean, it depends by who. I mean, if it's in a situation where I need to run, I don't want to have just my pants down. I'd rather not have them at all.
What about you, Haran? Are you embarrassed?
Nah, nah. Well, I mean, it's look, man. I'm not. Put it like this. I'm the kind of guy, and yeah, I'm aware of the pun that I'm about to say. If I pull the gun out of the holster, it's not for show. So whatever happens afterwards, I've made peace with whatever happens afterwards. You know what I mean? If somebody
You weighed
fucking
out the options. You
and
weighed out
that's
the
it.
pros and
I've already done all the scenarios in my head, and I've said, you know what? I'm fine with all of this. Let's go. You know, so there's no embarrassment on the other end for me.
I'm okay. I got to answer this question, but I got to ask Simply Deep. Like, are you planning on doing something with some chick out in public or something? Like, are you
Yeah,
trying to like plan this out and trying to figure out how to
yeah,
balance your,
he's been asking these kind of questions a lot. Like, look, bro, just
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 hey,
remember that car sex isn't that great. Seriously.
it's really not. It's really not. It's better if you do it at a park bench and you bend them over the bench and then you just go to town. Okay. Or if you have
Go
a
big or
truck,
go home, you know?
yeah, if you have a
that's right.
truck,
Scream, YOLO, bro, YOLO, bro. Like, yo,
but I mean, honestly, like I'm never embarrassed of myself. So I mean, so if I'm in the middle of doing something and you're watching, I'm gonna tell you, you keep on watching, I'm gonna start charging you a fee.
yeah.
Film this for OnlyFans. Come on.
Be like, hey, you getting a live performance? You better pay up. You better drop a C note or something. Leave a C note on the way out. I don't want it sticky with your lotion on it either. Like,
Go in a little shawarma in there for the end, you know?
Yeah, like you get close enough, you might get hit with some waterworks. Who knows? I mean,
Oh Jesus!
but I'm just saying, like, I mean, if they're in that situation, I don't know. But like, let's go back to like this woke feminists are delusional. Like the woke culture and feminists are delusional, because that's what I really want to talk about. And we did hit a lot about that. Like, and we have a problem in our culture, in our society right now, that we're saying facts are lies and fantasy is truth. And if a guy thinks he's a woman, that's a fantasy. And we're saying that is truth. If we're saying a woman could do everything that a man could do, that's a fantasy. Okay? But we're saying it's truth. And, what really, I was watching this movie last night. You guys heard of the movie Lost City?
Nope.
It has Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. And I like Sandra Bullock. I think she's a great comedian. Just hilarious. She's had a very long career. I think she's just a phenomenal actress. In this movie, Channing Tatum says, I'm a feminist. I think a woman could do everything a guy could do. And it just turned me off for the whole movie. I was just like, okay. Like, he said exactly what was expected to be said, and he just looked less of a man. What do you guys think about that?
I'll take this one.
Believe...
I don't think that's what feminists are actually about. Wanting equal rights is not thinking that a woman can do whatever a man can do. Not in my book, at the very least.
Do you think that? Okay, what do you? That's a good question, because I have a really different opinion on feminism. So, what do you think feminism stands for, Mark?
Well, listen, historically, feminism has been described as fighting for equal rights between men and women, voting rights, salary equality, having just women being able to, not being stuck in the housewife role all their lives if they choose not to. Right. So I'm really looking at it from like an historical perspective, historical perspective. Right, not in this third wave feminism that we're living through right now. It's really more like the actual dictionary definition of what feminism is and what should be, at least as far as I know.
Well, actually, I don't. It's funny because I don't really think the first wave feminists are any different than this current feminists. Actually, the first wave feminists were terrorists. They were killing folks. They were throwing bombs. They were walking around with clubs underneath their dresses, so they're pulling out. And when one of the feminists was getting arrested, they'll stab them or beat them with the club. They're terrorists. The first wave were very much terrorists. I mean, you can look it up. I forgot the exact terminology that they use, but it's something sisters or the sisterhood of, I don't know, traveling pants or something.
Like, sure, like if you want to look at these guys, right? But we're talking about the feminism who were like voting rights. We're talking about like basically asking to not be treated like second-class citizen, and I think that part to me is perfectly logical and fair, right? It's when my problem is when you want to take these ideals are further, like more extreme, and you claim them in the name of feminism, which is supposed to be equality, that it becomes twisted and it becomes a problem, right?
Well,
Mark. I want to ask Mark a question, Ron.
Go ahead.
So, Mark, do you believe all women?
Sorry, say again.
Do you believe all women? I mean, our senators tell us that we need to believe all women that claim that they were sexually assaulted. Do you believe all women?
No, not.
Well, then you're not a feminist.
But that's wrong.
No, I agree. I think believing all women is extremely wrong.
But I believe in equality, and I believe that a fair trial should be given to find out the truth. That's what I believe.
I believe in equality too. I believe that if a woman thinks she could fight like a man and fight a man, and she gets knocked out by a man, well, then that was her own mistake. I believe that if a man assaults a woman, he needs to do time for assault, just as I think a woman should do time for assault. I think if a woman cries rape and it's a false allegation, she needs to go to prison for the stint.
Agree too. Like
male
I said,
that was getting
fair is fair, right?
with.
Equality, it's for everyone, right?
But here's the problem with feminism: they want equality without accountability and responsibility,
and that's where it becomes a problem.
And that's where we're at now. And that's where we're at in society now. So I don't think feminism is beneficial to even females. I think feminism has made women more masculine than feminine, and it makes women more unattractive.
See, here's a problem. Here's a problem. And to your point, Glenn, when you were discussing the original feminists, like these chicks were out here busting heads. That's some real shit. And yeah, that really happened. And yeah, the thing is that look, if you want to gain any kind of power in the world, just like I said with the slave rebellions, that led to the Civil War. If you want any kind of notice, to go on in terms of your cause, you got to bust heads open. So kudos to those ladies who realized that certain things needed to be done in order to basically send a message. Now, here's the thing. Here's the problem. And I saw it go down. Women had the opportunity. They had the opportunity to close the deal. White women particularly, because feminism was for white women. Okay, black women, all that inclusive shit, that's all bullshit. Inclusivity is bullshit. White women had the opportunity to close the deal when Hillary Clinton was running for president. And they didn't. 53%, I believe that was the number, of white women supported Donald Trump. You had the opportunity to change the playing field for women prior. The blood that was shed for the first wave of feminists, everything that led up to that moment of Hillary Clinton just being inches away from having the highest seat in America, some would even say the world, and you drop the ball for what some would say, an admitted rapist. You trusted in a white man when at the end of the day, you had the opportunity to gain the absolute control that you wanted, that you fought for. You had the opportunity to gain this, and you chose not to. You chose not to. That, in my opinion, from my perspective, that spoke volumes, because the gun was put in your hand and you couldn't pull the trigger. That told me that when it was time to go balls to the wall, you had no balls. You talked a good one. You talked a good fucking one, man. But when it was time to really close the deal, you panicked. You panicked, and it was what it was. You'll never get another opportunity like Hillary Clinton ever again. I'll tell you that much. Not in our lifetime.
No, I mean, I agree. Hold on, I'm messaging Jen right now. She's saying,
and to also say to end my point, look, I don't know if you guys noticed, things got real dicey and real uncomfortable when the pandemic hit. You saw a lot of these women running into the arms of their husbands and running into the arms of their men and their partners once the pandemic hit. Unfortunately, there were a number of women who they didn't have male support. Some of these women, they went under financially. Some of them killed themselves.
No, yeah, no, it's crazy. And so feminism, and I say this, feminism, and I'll elaborate if people want me to, but feminism has masculinized women and feminized men. And in doing so, it makes women not attractive to men that they created. You know, the men that women want are not the men that they're championing for. You know, they want men. They don't want feminine men.
Look,
They want men.
look, listen, man. Look, look, Glenn. I'm from New York. Okay, I'm from a certain era, and as with all things in life, as the song goes, ain't no such things as halfway crooks. If you really about it, if you really about, you know, what I mean, your independence, and you want to be treated as an equal, no problem. But you also have to deal with the consequences of making the tough choices. Don't call me after you've made the tough choices,
Yep.
after you've made the decisions that built the that caused the building to basically go up in smoke, and you call me for my opinion. No, I have no opinion. I separated myself from that particular situation. That was your building. You wanted it. You deal with the issues and problems. See, men, when we sit down and have discussions, we treat each other with a particular degree of respect, and we treat each other with a particular degree of understanding, because both sides know that at any given time, if that is not if a degree of respect is not reciprocated, it's going to go into a direction that might lead to a very awkward situation or even violence. Men understand that, so we deal with each other, you know what I mean, with a particular responsibility. We understand the responsibility of manhood. We understand the responsibility of dealing in particular interactions. A lot of times women, you know what I mean, especially when they deal with men, they pop off at the mouth, they behave waywardly because they don't believe that there is a degree of consequence on the other side of that. So
Well,
so they behave in a particular manner.
and that's because men have allowed
Yes, they
women
have.
to not be accountable and not.
Now, here's
And
the
I don't
thing, you
believe.
know,
I don't, like I told you before, I don't believe that it's men's place to hold women accountable. I think it's women's place to hold women accountable.
they're
It's
not
not
going
my
to do that.
place. It's not my place to hold women accountable. It's my place to hold myself accountable. And
Right.
if I don't like certain things in my life, I'm going to be accountable to not liking these certain things in my life, and I'll just tell the woman to kick rocks. That's
They're not
not
going
me
to do that.
holding her accountable. That's holding myself accountable.
That they're not going to do that, Glenn. There's a lot of times when I get on these YouTube spaces, especially when we're having discussions about the economic disparities in the Black community, and you know, you have a lot of brothers who sound as if they're actually asking these women for their respect, and they're pleading with these women for the acknowledgement of the hard work that they're putting in, and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. I get on these guys. If you notice how I am, you know what I mean, when I'm in these spaces, you know, Glenn, I don't argue with women. I argue with the men, because I'm about male empowerment. I'm about men getting off their asses and creating the world that they want. If she's not shutting the fuck up, you're doing something wrong. If she's constantly arguing with you, you're doing something wrong. If she constantly has a gripe about something, she's doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. As a man, it is your responsibility. No, she's not. She's going to behave, if she's behaving in this manner with you because she believes that there's no consequence attached to it. She's
And she
talking
believes
to
that it's appropriate.
Exactly. She's talking to you like that because she believes there's no consequence attached to her talking to you like that. I'm going to give you a scenario. I'm going to give you a scenario right now, Glenn. Friend of mine, his boy. He said his boy was going through a lot of problems at home with his old lady, you know, and Tried and true situation. Guess what the scenario was? She's talking to him any kinds of old ways. She's talking to him crazy. She's ignoring, his needs and so on and so forth. Guess what? Guess what the situation that he's in? He's fucking, gutted out. Yeah, he's fat. He's probably 50 pounds overweight. He's going through it at his job. He's being ignored. He's getting the shit end of the stick in terms of life at that point in time. My boy told him flat out, get your fucking shit together and stop being a bitch. Stop asking her for respect. Stop begging anybody for respect, and respect your fucking self and take care of yourself and stop eating like shit. He one day, the epiphany hits him. He decides to go to the gym. He decides to stop eating like shit. And then one day he walks into the room, he walks into the home. He's not bickering with his wife. He's calm. He's in shape. He's doing what he's doing. And then before he makes that actual leap to actually change his life, you know what he does? He asks for a divorce. It's like, yeah, I want a divorce.
Wow.
She's like, and you know what she says? How could you go? What do you mean you want a divorce? So like, why can't we figure it out? I'm like, no, I think this is the end for us. I want to move on. And she's flabbergasted. She's angry because why? Because within that particular moment in time, he has become a completely upgraded version of himself. And she's realizing that she's not going to be able to enjoy the spoils of that.
Mm-hmm.
So before he levels up completely, especially financially, he's like, yeah, let me get rid of her now before I get the big bag. You know what I mean? Because she's dead weight and I got my eyes on a bigger prize right now. Now, here's the thing. I've seen it 100 times over. This is actually statistically proven. And women have done this, okay? Women have done this. This is I forgot the actual term for it. But the gist of it is that you have some of these women who, and some men, but more so women, they'll go for a particular surgery, they'll go for weight loss surgery. And after they lose a particular amount of weight, these women decide to leave their husbands. These women decide to move on from their particular husbands and go back out.
It's about hypergamy.
Yeah, and guess what? At the end of the day, Glenn, I say all this to say that this all boils down to options. A man
Well, that's what
who does
hypergamy is
not
all
have,
about.
yeah, and a man who doesn't have options, will always be at the beck and call of women.
He's always a weak man. A man that has no options is a weak man.
And when you have no options, and when I'm talking about options, I'm not even talking about women. I'm talking about options in terms of your career prospects, your options of whether or not what kind of men you can hang around with. Because guess what? This is one of the things that we don't talk about. Men who don't see you as a man, who don't see you as a conqueror, treat you a certain way. They'll treat you like the butt end of a fucking situation if they don't see you as a person who's about his shit, a person who is basically well on his square. We treat guys a certain way. You know what I mean? And if you are not a man with options, men treat you like, you know what I mean, you're a weak man. Because a man always has options in his career, in his personal life, and when it comes to, you know, the financial prospects, whatever it is. If you do not have options, you're always at the beck and call of other people.
Well, yeah, and you know, and I want to kind of gear this to married life. Now, I was married for 13 years. I'm happily divorced.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my wife had an affair, and you know, she had 3 affairs, and one of them was with a friend, and I didn't know about it.
Wow.
I didn't know nothing. I was so dumb and blinded that I was always, because she would always accuse me of it. So I'd make sure that I wasn't doing anything that looked like I was doing an affair. And I was competing at this time. I was, you know, winning titles and stuff. And she steps out 3 times. And I'm like, okay, that's it. When I found out about the first time, I found out about all 3 of them. So it was like, you know, it was a hard fucking, you know, pill to swallow. as much as I was mad at her, I really was mad at myself for ignoring the flags, for ignoring it. And I allowed so much bad behavior. As much as I'm mad at her for stepping out, I was mad at so much bad behavior that I allowed her to do, that I see the dot. I connected the dots. I'm like, well, why wouldn't she have fucking cheated? She got away with this. She got away with that. She got away with this. She got away with that. Of course she's going to, because in each scenario, I devalued myself rather than holding my standard and saying, no, this is unacceptable. I was doing the happy wife, happy life thing.
Right.
And in doing so, I kept on living in her frame, not my frame. And, it's crazy. And I want to ask Mark a follow-up question about this. It's crazy when at this point now, like I'm in a relationship, but I live in my frame. And if she doesn't live in my frame, then we have a problem. She can leave. It's simple as that. At this point, there's not very much negotiation for me as it once was. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like, no, I don't accept this type of behavior. No, I'm not going to accept you talking to me a certain way. It's not going to happen. I have no problem, being by myself than letting someone disrespect me.
Right.
And so my question for Mark is like, how do you, because you're the married man on the panel, how do you navigate these things? Do you run into scenarios with your spouse and you're like, hey, you got to get in line?
We set boundaries very, 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 very early. She's an older woman. She's older than me. So it was kind of her thing. She was like, yeah, I'm setting boundaries. And she was kind enough at that time to say, you should set yours too. Right. Which I'm very grateful for. And then we've been very keen on reminding ourselves what are those boundaries, right? And as they evolve, talk about it to each other. So very fortunate to have someone who's kind of on the same wavelength as I am on these things, not on everything, obviously. But yeah, like I said, I'm like super lucky in that sense. It has not happened before, and I doubt I'll be lucky for it to happen again if it has to.
Yeah, I mean, I find those are really rare and really hard to, I always tell guys, like, you are the prize. Not saying a good woman is not valuable, but the man is the prize. Let's look at it from an economical standpoint. If you guys get married and you get a divorce, guess what? She cashes out. Therefore, she got the prize, which was you, to pay for her bills and pay for her lifestyle. Okay, you got kids. Guess what? She's collecting child support now too. You are the prize that are going to be paying out on that. Men are the prize. Men need to be more selective and not believe this woke, delusional feminist narrative out there. Because it's not valuable for men, and I always say what's good for the relationship is when the man is in his rightful place. If there's a power struggle, I think that's a problem in relationships. And thank you, Simply Deep. I do hope I have good luck on this channel. We'll see where it goes. I love having conversations like this with other men and other women too, and I did send Jen the link and she never hopped on. So I'm gonna have a little talk with her later. Give her a piece of my mind. It's this woke delusional culture that we're in is very detrimental to men, and men need to be able to, I guess, like, I don't know. I guess maybe because I'm older, I'm old now, and I'm like, at this point in my life, I'm like, well, the only thing that a woman could give me that I can't give myself is vagina. So, like, I could cook for myself, I could clean for myself, I could fold my own laundry. I could make myself laugh. I tell myself some really funny jokes, I have a dog. I mean, I got a companion, you know, like there's really nothing that a woman could do for me that I can't do for myself other than satisfy me sexually, you know? So with that mindset, I look at each situation really like, is this benefiting me? Is this not benefiting me? Is this costing me more than I want it to cost me? And if it is, then I'm ready to, you know, I have an exit strategy. And you're right, men that don't have options are very vulnerable and weak men. They put themselves in a very weak position. What do you say, Haran?
Absolutely. I think that, and Mark and I have these conversations a lot. One of the things I often tell him is that as a man, it's not in your best interest to make tough life decisions or get involved in any kind of thing that can really alter your life if you are not firing at all cylinders. If you are not the best version of yourself, you should not get married. You should not get involved in a serious situation. If you're just dating, that's a different thing. If you're just doing some casual stuff, I still have, uh, some opinions about that. But that's not something you are attached to. I say this because there are moments in my life where I should not have gotten into a serious situation because I was not at the best stage in my life. I was not the best version of myself within that space for whatever reason. And what looking back at those moments, I can say like, okay, if I was who I am right now back then, yeah, I wouldn't have put up with this particular thing. I wouldn't have put up with that particular thing. See, and that is the problem when you're not firing at all cylinders, it affects your testosterone levels. This is scientific. This is actual scientific fact. You know what I mean? If it affects your testosterone levels, and if your testosterone levels are affected, that means your estrogen levels are, what I mean, a little bit more than what they should be. And then you find yourself being, well, you're being a bitch. You know what I mean? A lot more times than you should be. And you have to really acknowledge that. You have to be aware of that. And within those moments, I said to myself, when I climbed myself out of those moments, I climbed myself out of those moments because I realized, like, hey, this is not where I should be. This is not what I should be doing. This is not beneficial to me. You're muted, Glenn. I believe Glenn
Yeah,
is muted.
no, absolutely. And I think the biggest like lie that men could believe is that you have to put your woman first. And I think that's a very big a lie that Disney sells us. I think feminists would like to sell us that lie too. You know,
You can't put yourself. You can't put anyone first if you don't put yourself first. No one's gonna take care of you. No,
Absolutely.
if you're not healthy, if you're not fed, if you're not, in the right mindset, you can't accomplish anything.
A man can't be the first line of defense for his family if he doesn't put himself first. You have
yeah,
to be the first line of defense.
yeah, no, I agree. But what they tend to do is that they tend to allow bad behavior for the sake of not upsetting the access to sex.
Yes, I've seen.
And that's a problem. And that's not putting a man first.
But on the flip side of it, I've also seen, and this is a very difficult thing because it's happened to me before. I've also seen in child custody cases where the child is being used as a component to get the man to bend, where it's like, okay, if you don't do X, Y, Z, you're not going to see your kid, or you're not going to be able to have the relationship that you want to have with your child. And I've seen many a great man actually being manipulated in these situations, and it's really a very sad thing. We tend to talk about the deadbeat dads and so on and so forth because they are existent, and as human beings, we tend to discuss the negative. We tend to harp on the negative more than the positive. I mean, men even do it when it comes to women. But the point of the matter is this. The point I'm making is this. Uh, we as men, we have to always be diligent and aware of the moments when we're being manipulated, when we're being, used for someone else's agenda. And everyone has an agenda. We all have agendas. And sometimes, the reality of life does command that sometimes you have to put your, I would say, your agenda aside for the moment to play the long game. You know what I mean? You can't always get everything your way in that moment in time. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do have to make some compromises in the name of the long game. However, there has to be a point to it. You can't just sit there and fall back because you're afraid. You know what I mean? You're afraid of losing out on something. You're afraid of actually putting your foot down and fighting for yourself. As men, we especially when kids are involved and so on, we have to be willing to basically fight for ourselves, man.
Oh yeah, because you know what? At the end of the day, this is what I tell guys too, and ladies, this is a good thing for you too. Nobody gives a fuck about your problems or your struggles.
No,
Nobody gives no fucks. The world is cold, the world is hard, and the world is tough. It's not full of fucking unicorns and rainbows and pots of gold at the end of it. All right. Anybody that became something, made something of themselves by fucking hard work, and nobody was there to wipe their tears. They had to push through it. So, with that being said, you know, guys need to stop worrying about their feelings or hoping that somebody else is going to worry about their feelings. Well, nobody cares about your feelings unless it benefits them to care about your feelings. Like,
it's the truth.
and it's sad because guys don't understand that. They think like, oh, she's gonna love me, she's gonna care about my feelings. Yeah, until it doesn't benefit her anymore. And you have to be okay with it. It's not like saying all women ain't shit or all women are trash. I'm not trying to say that at all. This is just human nature. I'm just telling you stuff
Absolutely.
so you don't set yourself up for failure. Guys do the same
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's human nature.
Yes, it is.
You don't sit. Too many people, and I think Ryan Stone coined this phrase, and it's called a covert contract. It's that you believe somebody's going to do good by you because you did good by them. That's a covert contract. You just have this expectation that they're going to do good by you just because you did good by them, and that's the biggest downfall in every relationship, in every friendship, every relationship. The biggest downfall is having these unrealistic covert contracts that you think somebody's going to put your needs above theirs, and that's
Absolutely true.
delusional.
Absolutely
That's
true. And I have issues with my main thing is that I have issues with the fact that a lot of men that I'm seeing right now, they want women to hold themselves accountable and so on and so forth. And that's a bigger argument within itself. And like I tell you, Glenn, they're not going to hold themselves accountable. I'm a
no.
bigger proponent of men holding themselves accountable because I can you can trust and believe that men, if a man's world, whatever his world is, it's a reflection of who he is and what he will allow.
Oh, we got Jen chiming in. Hey, thank you for the love. And stay away from our unicorns, though. Man, You can keep all your unicorns, Jen. You can have all of them. All of them. I don't want no unicorns. I want fucking lions. I want lions with teeth. I want real animals, not no make-believe fairy tale objects. You could keep the unicorns with the Prince Charmings and the princesses. Keep all of them. No, I got much love for Jen. Had to give her some smoke though. But no, like seriously, like there's this, and I can't wait till we do this. Jen, I hope we really do the fat chick panel. I mean, the Sports Illustrated model panel. Because me and Haran already got into it. You got to watch the beginning of the stream.
Oh my God.
I'm coming out guns blazing this time. You know, tonight, bet
Oh,
I'll
tonight?
be on.
All right. We doing it. All right.
We're going to bring out all the smoke. All the
Oh my
heifers,
God.
I'm sorry in advance.
It's going to
But
get
I'm not
ugly
going to be
tonight.
sorry.
It's going to get ugly tonight.
Oh, I'm going to be hated on. It's going to be great. But no, like
One thing I want to say about Jen is that I think what works with her, and I'm just saying from a perspective of a man, I can have a conversation with her. I mean, we've gotten into it before, but I can have a conversation with her because there's a degree of masculine energy in her that does allow her to see things from a logical perspective. I'll just say that flat out. You know what I mean? After a while, it doesn't feel like you're arguing with a woman. You know, well, for
no,
me
I
personally,
agree.
you know what I mean?
I
After a
think
while,
what makes her a rare breed is that you could we've had difference of opinions and I could explain them to her and she's like,
right,
okay, I get what you're saying. I could see that. That
right,
makes sense. She
right.
doesn't always agree with me. You know, we have our differences.
As
But
it should never be. Of course, we should all have our own thinking. Yeah, it happens.
yeah, but she actually is willing to see. She's willing not to get as emotional with the debates as many women do. And so, I mean, that's why I love working with her and, you know, being on her show is because we can have these controversial conversations and she doesn't really allow her emotions to get on it, to really get in the way. You know, it's a beautiful thing and it's a rarity because a lot of women don't have that. A lot of women go completely emotional with everything, and you can't have a logical and analytical conversation with somebody when they're arguing based off emotions.
Right.
It's like having an argument based off facts and dreams.
Right.
It's like using a textbook and a fairy tale to dictate history.
Absolutely.
And she is a rare breed that she is able to, you know, have a rational conversation and not get emotional with it. Because honestly, like I think you agree with this. As soon as people, I feel like people get emotional in a debate, that's the sign that they've already lost the debate.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen her. I think I've seen her when she actually loses her shit with a dude. I have seen her from the perspective of looking at the exchange objectively. The guy's argument would be weak, so he's not coming with a stance that makes sense or strong. So she's just like ice picking the dude, and it makes sense because it's like I do the same thing. Like if you're gonna come to me with a perspective and you're making absolutely no sense, I'm gonna tell you to fucking part, man. It's like because first of all, you're not only sound like a complete fucking idiot, you're wasting both of our time. You know, as men, that's the one thing that we don't have a surplus of. So you know what I mean, just go ahead with that. But I say that also to say that I gotta run. I got another fucking thing that I'm doing on Twitter. You know, I got this. You're muted, bro.
Hold on, before you leave, while Jen's on here, I got to ask her a question, and I'm gonna play the video for it, and yeah. So, and I played it earlier. Alrighty, so Jen, you have to answer this question for me while you're in the chat. There's this woman, right? And she said this.
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. I just want to know, Jen, do you agree with this craziness? You know, because I'm gonna have to smoke you out for that one if you do. You think men can get pregnant? Do you fall into the woke feminist delusional thought process?
Is she still here?
I don't know. She might be.
I mean, she's not. I mean, I guess you can ask her later.
Yeah.
Or ask her on IG.
Yeah. I probably will ask her tonight. I'll probably throw the video up on her. Oh, okay.
Oh, there she
Okay.
is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's talking about trans men.
But Jen,
No,
come
she
on.
said men. She said she believes men could get pregnant.
Yeah, she's talking about trans men, but Jen, come on. I mean,
she used the
we
word
both know what
men.
she's talking about.
She didn't
We
use
both know what
trans.
she's talking about. That's the whole point of this situation, Jen. I mean, if that's a trans man and that trans man is able to get pregnant, it's not a man.
They are transformers.
You know what I mean? That's
Women in disguise.
I do not believe biological men can get pregnant. Okay.
You believe transformers though? I think we should just coin this: transformers, women in disguise, or men
Look,
in
listen,
disguise.
I tell people all the time, like, look, you know, if there is such a thing as a God, he knew who to get pregnant. He knew who to get pregnant. Because look, listen, in terms of the pain of pregnancy, you know what I mean, I did some research on that, and they said in terms of the pain, the only thing more painful than giving birth, I think they said, was being burned alive. Like men were not built for that kind of pain. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it real with each other. I would not look forward to giving birth. So here's a man that's saying that I cannot get pregnant. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I can't.
No, fuck that. If men had to give birth, the population would be one.
But seriously, we'd have died off eons ago. Okay, let's keep it all the way a buck.
Seriously, like, we'll go to war. We'll take a stab in the chest. We'll take a bullet wound.
Oh yeah. Because guess what?
Have you ever tried to pass a kidney stone?
Yeah,
that.
Oh my god. Like, look, listen, okay. Let's just keep it 100. But Glenn, I'm gonna see you guys later.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Always fun, bro. You know what I mean? Always fun kicking it with you.
Yes, definitely. We'll be on tonight on Jen's channel. Everybody who's watching, hop on Jen's channel tonight. We're going to be talking about fat chicks on swimsuit cover magazines. I don't think she's going to title it "Fat Chicks on Swimsuit Magazines," but that's the coin that I'm going to call it. It's going to be the Fat Chick episode. So all you fat chicks, stay tuned. All right, guys, have a good one. Thank you guys for tuning in. That was a lot of fun. Stay tuned.